You're listening to the St John's Diamond Creek podcast.
Today's reading is taken from 2 chapters in the book of Matthew. The first part of the reading is Matthew 25, verses 31 to 40, and is headed The Sheep and the Goats. When the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you?" The king will reply, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me." The second part of the reading is from Matthew 28, verses 16 to 20, headed The Great Commission. Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
Hello, thank you for inviting me along today. For those who don't know me, my name is Paul and I'm part of the team of Open House. Open House is a place for people to belong. A quote someone recently gave me from the Belonging Gallery in Manchester. Belonging is fundamental to our sense of purpose, our well-being and knowing who we are. Belonging helps us to face fears and inspires us to create better, harmonious futures. We can know belonging through relationships, everyday objects, places, movements and actions. I think this sums up well what belonging is. At Open House, belonging is an expression of God's love in the community. A missional outreach of the local church. Our mission or biblical mandate is to live out Matthew 25, 34 to 40 and Matthew 28, 18 to 20. I'll just read them again. I know we've probably already heard them, but we're going to read them again. Matthew 25. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world." Now the most relevant part of Open House. "For I was hungry, you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go and visit you?" The king will reply, Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. And then Matthew 28, verse 18. Then Jesus came to them and said, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations. Baptize them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I've commanded. And as surely I am with you always to the very end of age. We see the outworking of the scripture is to give long-term friendship and support to children, young people and adults in our community, particularly those who are disadvantaged or socially isolated. We try to provide a place with a relaxed environment where people are welcomed, encouraged, cared for and supported. We like to give opportunities for people to express themselves and encouragement if they want to make positive changes in their lives. We respect each person, their social, racial and religious beliefs and treat them with dignity. We value each person as unique and loved by God. We freely offer friendship and support to those in need, in accordance with the commands of God, supporting people unconditionally. Now I'm going to show you a quick video to provide some context on our work. Our history. Open House is a Christian-based organisation founded back in 1971. It began as a response to the needs of young people claiming they had nowhere to go but the pub. But now we provide friendship and support for all ages. Open House has developed through the grace of God and the hard work, love, kindness, stickability, inspiration and generosity of many hundreds of organisations and caring people just like yourselves. A few numbers for you. We had 12 members of staff, 50 volunteers. Last year, we provided 5,535 occasions of service. We ran 160 youth workshop mentoring programs. This is a program for young people disengaged from school. We have them in 1 day a week, giving them an opportunity to learn practical life skills so they can re-engage. We ran 80 club work sessions. This is the activity for our older people, where they come in and it helps to keep them active. They do fun things like craft, but they're also doing fine motor skills as well. We served 700 community meals. We also had 250 bikes that were restored and gave out to the local community at Malahang Reserve. We have a social enterprise in Ivanhoe Library called Whispers. In the past 12 months, we've had 25,000 sales, trained 33 people, 8 of which have gained employment in the industry. To help us run the organisation, we have a well-equipped site in McLeod with a commercial kitchen, 2 fully equipped workshops, welcome centre, offices and a fantastic community garden and a sports hall. We also have 2 12-seater buses and an 8-seater people carrier. It costs us just over 1.2 million a year to operate, and this is generated with income from activities, grants, investments, kind donations from individuals and organisations like yourselves. I'd personally like to thank you for your support. I feel support from Christian organisations is worth at least twice as much as anywhere else. Because if a Christian organisation gives, it also prays, and that's what help keeps us Christian. Recently, we went through the process of changing our logo. Going through change is always difficult and interesting. I remember the first church I went to. It was a Baptist church, and there were 600 members. And the elders decided they wanted to change the carpet and curtains. The mistake they made, they involved everybody in the church in the decision. This went on for a couple of years, and then finally a decision was made. They kept the carpet and curtains exactly the same colour as they were already. Changing our logo was a lot easier than that. We decided not to include everybody. But what we did do, we asked the Open House family for key words that represented Open House. The words were Christian, caring, welcoming, fun, happy, friendly and long-term. We also had 2 must-haves for the new logo. We didn't even consult on this one. They were the cross and our name. We felt without having the cross, we would dilute who we are, and we could just become another organisation with Christian roots, and we didn't want that. The 4 F's of Open House. 1, friends. Open House is fundamentally an organisation that offers friendship, giving people a place to belong. Being a friend on the face of it seems really easy. You just sit there, talk with someone, drink coffee, go out and have fun days with them. But when I started thinking about my personal friendship group, I realised there was more involved. Being a friend is not always plain sailing, and sometimes you have to sacrifice things. You have to be there when you don't really want to be there, because your friend needs you, so you turn up. Recently, I got up at 4 a.m. to support a friend. He was taking part in an event called a Front Yard Ultra. For those who have no idea what I'm talking about, it's running a 6.7 kilometre loop every hour on the hour for as long as you can run. The winner is the person who does the most laps. On this occasion, my friend ran an amazing 15 laps, which is just over 100 kilometres. I was asked, why would I get up in the middle of the night to help somebody? They're just running around in circles. My response was, because he's a friend and I want to support him. It is normal for a friend to go above and beyond because they want what is best for their friend. This is definitely the case at Open House. We are the family. That's our second point, family. Open House is like an extended family. Everyone that comes through the door instantly becomes a family member. I see open house as a giant jigsaw puzzle. Each person is a vital piece in the ever-evolving picture. But we're not like a normal puzzle with nice rectangle. We are ever evolving, ever changing, and hopefully it will carry on forever, the puzzle. And just like family, we don't put a time limit on how long you can be a family member. People can come to open house as long as they want. Another unique selling point of open house is funding. Of course we need funds to operate, but we are not dependent on funding to offer programs. For one of our participants, his NDIS funding stopped, and all the other places he is involved with dropped him immediately. So he called us and said, "I can't come anymore, I've got no more money." We told him, "Come anyway. Don't worry about the money. It's just our unique point that we do. Yes, sometimes the board gets a bit worried by this, but they fully support it. If we've been working with somebody, we don't worry about the money. If somebody needs family and support, we will give them." And the fourth one is feature. The feature of open house. This time last year, I predicted the need for our work would grow, and it has. It's increased by 46% over the last year. We're currently praying how we can best meet this need. But one area identified, which is going to take us back to our roots. As mentioned back in 1971, young people were looking for an alternative to gang culture and needed a positive place to go, and that was open house. Now, 54 years on, we've found that young people are being drawn to a whole lot of negative stuff on the online space, and negative role models like the Andrew Tates. Recently, an article by Julie Inman, e-Safety Commissioner, said this: "Throughout history, young people have relied on role models to help guide them through the tricky transition into adulthood. But like so many other things, the internet has changed the process and made it difficult rite of passage, even among more complex and confounding. Well-respected adults in family communities or culture at large continue to provide important examples. Anyone who has children cannot fail to be aware of the effect of the online world on the lives of young people today. But where are the healthy, positive role models? Research shows they're sadly lacking, most especially for boys. While concerning in itself, what's even worse is there are plenty of dark influences out there, waiting to fill the void, often propelled along by the invisible and opaque online systems, which the big tech refuse to tame. In some respects, algorithms can be more influential than parents, especially if that young person is already grappling with a sense of self. They drag vulnerable people down rabbit holes of harmful content. But if we want to disrupt the swirling tide of harmful narratives, we need to do something different, something positive that includes young men and give them healthy role models. So as a result, we're planning a new cutting-edge program to address this issue, to provide young men in particular with a positive alternative. The project is going to be called H3. It's men's mental, physical and relational health. We're not doing this alone. We're working closely with the experts in the field. And recently we had a forum to bring these together to help us design the program to address this issue. Our work is often challenging as we deal with real life issues, but it's so rewarding. And nothing inspires our team more than hearing the transformational stories from our participants and their families. I'm going to finish today by sharing another video, sharing some stories to give you a taste of what we do. I hope you enjoyed the video, seen a bit more about what we do. Just a few stories for you. At Christmas, our people are lonely, and we like to do something for them. Last Christmas, our activity was a Christmas feast or a Christmas meal. We had 90 guests, all participants, and they were treated to a 3-course meal, given a small gift and a hamper to take away, all served by the staff. It was great to see the interaction between the young and the older people. This year we're planning something bigger. We're going to have a whole day event. It's going to be a picnic in McLeod. And so not just participants can come along, the volunteers can come along as well, and the wider community. We also work with primary kids and their families. For the last 3 years, we've been picking up 20 primary children and taking them to school because they can't get there. But we've expanded this now to offer the family more support. We do holiday clubs for them, including a sleepover, which give families and carers much needed respite. Also weekly at our backyard sports programme, we have them along and do fun games, and we feed them nice warm toasties. And also give them food boxes. Some more stories from backyard sports. A former participant who has now left school wanted to give back, as he loved his time at open house, especially backyard sports. So he asked if he could volunteer there, but he didn't want to just play basketball, which was his interest. He wanted to do more. So we signed him up to help serve the toasties. And off his own back, he went and got his basic food safety certificate so that he could actually do this. And each week he turns up, whatever the weather, to serve these toasties. And after he served them, as they go really quickly, there he is, tidying up and quickly onto the basketball court to play with the others. Journey in June. I don't know if you've heard of Journey in June. It's a fundraising activity that the staff do. They go above and beyond to use their peers to raise much needed funds because they know the importance of raising money. We call it Journey in June because at Open House, we're involved in people's life journeys, offering long-term support and friendship. The word journey also relates well to personal challenges, the journey to complete the goal. And June, because it's the end of the financial year. And the phrase Journey in June is easy to remember. This is not just an opportunity to achieve a personal challenge. It's also an opportunity to make a positive difference to people's lives. People struggling with social isolation and people living with disadvantage. A few things the team have been up to. There was a group activity where people would run laps around Malaham Reserve, but 2 of the staff team took it upon themselves to run a marathon. I don't know how you didn't get dizzy running round in circles in Malaham Reserve. There's one staff member who's been tap dancing every day. Another staff member's been making hot meals for the community. Another one was running a kilometre for every $10 donated. And 2 members, including myself, decided to sit in an ice bath. One member said why they do it. My role at Open House is one that brings me genuine joy. I look forward to coming in each week and connecting with the wonderful, diverse community. One of the most common things I hear from the participants is how much they look forward to the days they attend Open House. For some, it's the only chance they get to get out of the house. That's why as staff, we take such pride in being able to provide a space where vulnerable members of our community can experience connection, joy, and a sense of belonging. As a not-for-profit, we work hard to offer the best support we can. But with the constant change in financial landscape, we know just how crucial every single dollar is in keeping places like Open House running. I'm going to finish with my favourite all-time story. It is simply seeing somebody smile. A guy named Des, participant sadly no longer with us. Every year our participants submit artwork and craft to the Whittlesea show. On this occasion, I happened to be walking around the exhibits where Des appeared. It was a bit like when you get the school class photo sent to you. You scan it as quick as you can to try and find your own son or daughter. This was Des. He was looking round, up and down, trying to find his artwork. I'd already spotted it and was standing beside it. Then a massive smile appeared on his face. He had found his artwork, and what is more, he'd got a second place. I'd never seen Des smile before, and I managed to get a photo of that very moment. This photo now has pride of place in my office. When I have a tough day at work, snowed under with paperwork, I glance up and see Des smile. And that reminds me why I work at Open House. These stories are a wonderful reminder of why we do this work, creating safe, supporting spaces where people can connect, grow and thrive. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to subscribe to this podcast, you can do so in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Just search for St John's, Diamond Creek.